Hello and welcome to my 10 general tips when playing Grim Dawn. I'm creating this video because I've recently got back into Grim Dawn and I thought I'd just share some things I've learned with you guys, so without further ado, let's get into the tips. Okay, for tip number 1, I'm going to be talking about item filters. Now this is probably the most important and most helpful little tip about the game, because in the bottom left of the screen you'll see this little coloured icon. I think it starts as, is it grey or something? But yeah, if you click this it will cycle through the different grades of the items that drop by the enemies. They go broken items, common, magical, rare, epic and legendary. Now if you get to a point where you don't want any more magical items because they're useless to you now, you can click on this item filter and it'll only show like items above that grade, if that makes sense. So yeah, please make sure you use this, because otherwise you're going to be lost with all the items on the floor. Okay, tip number 2 is about storage, because in Grim Dawn you're going to be picking up a ton of loot that you may not necessarily want, but this is where you use the storage, as it will share with other characters. So if you do want to make another character that uses a different build, which you'll likely be doing, you might pick up an item for them, so always keep that in your storage. And also, another point about storage is illusions are now in the game. I think they came with Ashes of Malmouth even? Yeah, I don't know, I think they came with that. You can actually like use items from the storage as illusions. You don't have to have them in your inventory, just in storage. So if you do like the look of an item but you don't hate its stats, you can just keep it in storage and use it through the transmogrify thingy. Yeah. Tip number 3, we're going to be speaking about attribute points. Now these are the points you get that you put into either physique, spirit or cunning. After every level up you get 1. I would highly recommend that you put them into physique, as later on you're going to be needing a lot more health and defense, and that is what physique contributes to. Otherwise, only put it into spirit and cunning if you need it to, I'd say, equip an item or something, but all the time, physique otherwise. Okay, the next tip concerns inventory management, and this is just to do with the inventory auto sort and complete components little buttons in your inventory. I don't know if you noticed them, but if you click them, the inventory auto sort will move your items around just in, I don't know, I think it's a sequence order. But if you keep going through them, you might find you might have more space than you think, because it will make it fit like as best as possible in certain places. So that's very useful, and you really want to use complete components, because all the components in the inventory that you picked up, they will put them all together that they can, and yeah, that is very good for sorting your components. Tip number 5 is to do all quests, because in Grim Dawn you're given the option to do a lot of optional quests, and some really give like amazing rewards that you do not want to miss. So for an example, if you talk to one of the NPCs in the first town, he will give you an inventory slot for clearing a cellar, I guess it is. But yeah, you definitely want to do these side quests, unless you know all the rewards, I guess, then you could skip some, but first time playthrough, make sure you do them. Okay, tip number 6 is to explore everything, at least on your first playthrough. So on your first playthrough, you can have no idea what's coming around the corner, and you will want to look in caves and literally everywhere, because there are things that you will need, especially devotion shrines. A lot of them are optional, and you will likely miss a lot on your first playthrough, so yeah, you want to look everywhere, explore the whole map. Okay, the next tip is more of a preference on how you'd like to play the game, but that is to follow a build guide for your first playthrough, because at the start, when you have no idea what you're doing, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes in a build, and you will likely end up dying a lot more than you should be. But this is part of the game, it's completely optional. Build guides will make it a lot easier for you, because you know exactly what you're putting points into and exactly what you're getting. But I'd say it's a lot more fun to make your own build, but this is all up to you, to be honest. Okay, the next tip is for when you start a new character, you might want to actually start it in the Crucible if you have the DLC. Because the Crucible allows you to get devotion points early on quite easily, surprisingly. I think it starts with like free special currency that you trade in with a person at the Crucible, and you get a devotion point instead of finding shrines. So this is very useful, because that means once you've built up, say, 4 devotion points in the Crucible, and you've leveled a bit, you can start the story, and you've basically got a head start on devotion points, because the first shrine that you find will still give you the devotion point, but you'll be 4 ahead. So yeah, you will need to do this if you want to level faster, you want to boost yourself, but otherwise it's not really necessary, but you can. My last and final point is to do with skill points. Now these, you're going to want to put a lot of them into the mastery bar. That is the main point I'm trying to make. Because the mastery bar gives you a ton of stats that are, well, your attribute points. So you're going to use them to actually equip gear. That's your main source of getting them up. But you're also going to want to put them into skills. It is tempting to get new skills, but a lot of the time you want to invest in the mastery bar to begin with. Because there are 224 skill points at max level, I believe. That's from looking it up. I don't actually know, but yeah, you're gonna want to make sure you put them, a lot of them at least, into the mastery bar. Okay, that's it for all the tips. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. I would like to ask you guys if you'd like me to do any let's plays of any games or just cover any games in general. But yeah, anyway, leave a comment down below of what you want to say and what you think of this video. Actually, I would like to know. I'd love some feedback. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.